received this telephone call. And when I put down the receiver, I suddenly realized that I was navigating away from my dream. And I thought, is this what life is about? I felt that I was like a hamster in a hamster wheel, coming in the morning to the office, doing the job, going home. And then I thought, no, I have to do a handbrake turn. That's like 180 degrees turn in rally language. But I decided that that was something I had to share with everybody here and there. And walked over to the boss office, telling him that I've just got this offer from General Motors to compete with the Scottish girl for 1 year in the World Rally Championship and fight for the first female title. He looked at me and he said, are you going to throw all this away? You have a responsibility here. Rallies. I mean, 1 year. You could go out and kill yourself. And that is exactly what happens. Maybe we are not aware of it, but to follow our dreams sometimes takes us into unwalked grounds. And I said to him, I know it sounds crazy, but I have to do it. He said, we cannot have you here anymore. And I said, yeah, of course. So I quit, and now I stood in front of an even bigger challenge. I knew that I was going to let my family down, the ones that have supported me through my ups and downs, the ones that have made it possible for me to already have started to travel the world. And I thought, whoa, my God, they will be so disappointed. And sure enough, they were. My father hardly ever raised his voice, but now he was screaming when I told him. And he told me that I had to go back to tell my boss that this was a childish decision, that I would like to have my job back, or else I was not welcome home anymore. And that is a big challenge for each and one of us. And that is exactly what we have to make decisions between sometimes. The one we love and our own path. The path we need and want to create for the future. The future, that doesn't have a manual. It's something that we have to create. And I decided to follow my dreams. I decided I wanted to travel that world. And that world championship was going to bring me into 5 continents, visiting 50 new countries. And I was ready to work for that. As well, I've had a dream together with my first boyfriend, who actually introduced me to motorsport. And when we got our first contract to go out and compete there for the Rally Championship, he got killed in an accident. A friend of ours lost control over his rally car and rolled over Lars-Erik in Monte Carlo. That is one of the things that immediately influence your life, that can alter everything you have planned. In an instant, you will go somewhere else. And I did. That's how I ended up in the office in Uppsala. I left that dream. And now, I was here to be like a Don Quixote or Sancho Panza, fighting the windmills, because I did not know what I had to compete with. Going out there, I thought, what was it going to be? And when I look back on those some 25 years of motorsport, the biggest challenge has been to find acceptance for me being a woman in a male-dominated areas. So what actually took me into those male-dominated areas? I think it was my upbringing more than anything else. I was raised with 3 brothers, and in my family, there was never a difference between us. It was just as important to help out cooking and cleaning the house as it was to helping out on the fields or competing, reversing tractors between everything else that was on the farm. And most of all, we had to help each other. I never forget when we was singling coins to find out who was going to shoveling shit for 500 pigs in the morning before school. And together with that, I also had 2 great role models who gave me inspiration and was there when something went wrong to support me, giving me unconditional love. One grandma was wild and crazy, and she was like the Picasso. She was always in a good mood, and when we had our failures, she said, it's really good. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And then she also told me never to become a boring grown-up. Life was too serious anyway, she said. And the other grandma showed me what was right from wrong and gave me that knowledge to always share unlimited love to everybody in my surrounding. So I went out in life with that as a support, and the first real dream was to become a pilot. I was 12, and my father looked at me and said, that sounds really expensive to follow that dream. And I thought, yeah, I know, but... So he said, then you better have to find solutions to gain that money. From the age of 13 to I was 16, I was running 5 companies that actually made me pay for my first gliding license. And I was so determined to become a pilot. My family saw it, so they said, okay, we have to support her. And sent me off as an exchange student to America, to Albuquerque. I was joining a military school, sort of flying school, 6 days a week with 17 guys. So if you wonder why I ended up in male-dominated areas, it's probably not so difficult to understand. Coming back from there, now I did not just want to become a pilot, I wanted to become a fighter pilot. And I came back and I joined the Air Force in Sweden. After that first summer, they said, what would you like to become within the military? And I said, fighter pilot. And they looked at me and said, you have not realized there is no females flying in the Air Force? And I said, yes, but why can we not change? And they looked at me, there will never be females flying in the Air Force. Trust us. I have also learned that moving mountains there and then is not the right way to lose your energy. I have always tried to find small roads to go around the mountains, because when you know you cannot change it, there is always some roads that will take you upward, forward. Even it's more stony, but at least it is momentum of on those roads. So, 30 years later, I have always throughout those years been taking the chances, flying, practicing on simulators, and I'm so happy. The Swedish Air Force have changed. So today, females can definitely be a fighter pilot, and I have actually got 1 hour to fly our fighter in Sweden, 2013, and believe me, I was in the movie Top Gun that whole hour. Meanwhile, I worked my way through motorsport. I achieved my goals, won the World Championship title. When I was assigned to go with Colin McRae for the first win in the Dakar Rally, when another tragic accident happened. Things that we cannot influence. He got killed in a helicopter accident, and the whole team, including me, was standing there with sorrow, and nobody really wanted to continue. But we knew, and you all know, the show must go on. As long as we are living, the show must go on. I was brainwashing my brain with that song, I don't know, for 2 weeks probably. And they sent us out into the desert again, and I was assigned to test with 7 new drivers, world champions from Finland, from Italy, from France. And my mind was working overtime. What was I doing here? Could I fulfill? What was my next dream? That was together with Colin. Now the cards have been divided again, and it was a new way to look upon life. And I suddenly remembered. Some years before, Nelson Mandela had come to bless our rally car before I was going with the South African team to compete in Dakar. He told us the story when he had used the sport to unite his country. And I suddenly realized, like the lightning again, I was struck by something. It must be a higher purpose also for motorsport. So I thought, now is the time. Now is really the time to go out there and show that we can take the next level. I wanted to win the World Cup with the fastest driver. But there was not really any of those drivers that I felt comfortable with. There was two people that was standing out in our team. It was me because I was a woman, and it was our customer driver from Qatar, Nasser Al-Attiyah. So I thought we joined forces. He had never won a rally, but he had that fire in his eyes. And he was so determined that he wanted to have success. So I thought that's a good base to start with. I went over to my boss. I decided to ask him if I was going to be able to ask and be joined by Nasser. He looked at me and he says, Tina, you know that I think he has a different culture, and I'm not sure what he thinks about having a female coaching him to his first victory. I said, but we have to try it. So I got the allowance and I asked him, and it took for him a week to decide if he was going to join me. But there's one thing I've learned, and that is when you have a goal in front of you, a dream that is so powerful that it actually fires on your endless power within your soul, you can achieve and you can change the mindset out there, because everything we have learned can be relearned. And that's what I was hoping in. So after 2 years of success, winning the World Cup, becoming historical in the Middle East, we were just not proud what we have succeeded in, but also how we now could watch the change for females and sport within his country. And that is something. The Motorsport Federation of Qatar 2015 went beyond the ordinary and invited 16 of the most talented female drivers and co-drivers from around the world to come to an academy to be joined and go for the prize to be sponsored in 2016's World Rally Championship. Sorry. No, not the World Rally Championship. It was to be sponsored in the Rally Championship. That is a different thing. The World Rally Championship is with rally cars on normal roads, and the Rally Championship is a rally where we compete out in the dunes or off-road. So anyway, that is something that I am so proud of to have been a part of, that the dreams that started 30 years ago have taken me around the world doing all the things and taken me into new areas, solving challenges that I never expected, but with the help of others and with the goals and the dreams of people from around the world, we have been able to achieve a new standard within motorsport. And therefore, I'd like to summon this up with a saying from the founder of IKEA, Ingvar Kamprad. He says, wonderful future. Everything is lying ahead of us, still to be done. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a million.